I'm just so grateful, so full right now. Just thank you for being here. Thank you for celebrating with us. Just grateful for the opportunity. As I walked into the room, I'm like, wow, this is much bigger than all of us here. And I don't think we realize that. So much bigger than us. And yes, we've committed to it, to doing this work, but what we see here today represents legacy. It represents generations that we're going to impact for years and years to come through this organization and many others. And so as you're sitting today, as you're going throughout this conference, I want you to reflect on what your legacy is going to be. What are you leaving for the generations that are coming behind us? We're all put on this earth for a reason. And one of my commitments to God is I don't want to leave this earth without doing what I was placed here to do. So as I stand here before you today, that's exactly why I am here, because this is what He's purposed for me to do. And whether I like it or not, this is what it is. And so just want to share a brief overview of my story. It's been quite a journey over the last 20 years. I thought back like, wow, 2006, I was walking into the emergency room and being told that my kidneys were failing. And then here we are 20 years later. It's been quite a journey, but one that has really strengthened me. It's strengthened my family. It's brought so many connections that I could have never imagined, many of you sitting here today, because of this journey. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of my journey. We would be here all day if I told the full story, but just give a brief overview of my journey and why the APOL1 Action Alliance. And so in 2006, as I mentioned, I ended up in the emergency room, and I had a 5-month-old, my daughter, who's I'm so blessed to have here today, 20 years old. And I was in the emergency room. I had just gotten back to work from being off on maternity leave all summer. And working in the school system, it gave me that luxury. And then there I was being told that my kidneys were failing. We didn't talk about kidney health in my family because we didn't have anyone that really had kidney disease or anything. So it was never anything that I knew, had background knowledge on or anything like that. And so fast forward, doctor comes in, she said, your kidneys are failing. It could be lupus. I had a lupus diagnosis in 2003. And she said, maybe it's lupus. Maybe that's what's going on. You just had a baby, your body took a hit, and here we are. And so long story short, was diagnosed with focal segmental glomerular sclerosis. I was like, what is that? What is this? And rare kidney condition, they mentioned that causes scarring in your filters in your kidney. Had no idea how this happened to me. And so I found myself in a space where I was in denial. I always tell my kidney warrior friends it's very normal to experience the grieving process when you receive such horrible news like that, where you know your life is going to be different from that day forward. And so got the diagnosis, went through this period of wondering, what life would look like for me, what life would look like for my family. I'm like, God, this is definitely not a perfect time here, because I have a 5-month-old, I need to be a wife, I need to be a mother, what's happening here. And so I had 2 choices. I could fold and succumb to the feelings that I was having and the depression, off and on depression, that I would experience silently, or I could rise to the occasion. And so I was in the hospital. I was in denial, so I would not show up to get the dialysis catheter when they started having those conversations with me. And so I would be labeled the uncompliant patient during that time in the journey. But I ended up in the hospital, really low hemoglobin levels, and so my nephrologist said, look, this is do or die at this point. You've let this go on too long, and we need you to get on dialysis. And if you don't get on dialysis, when you leave this hospital, we're afraid that you're going to die. And so I had a decision to make. And I really feel like that was the defining moment in this whole process for me, which is why I'm standing here today. And I came to a conclusion that, why not me? I could sit here and why is this happening? And I could stay in that space, or I could do something about it. And so that was the stance that I took. Why not me? Why not I sit in this dialysis chair on behalf of the people that may come behind me? Maybe I can grab some information so that if they're ever faced with this, I can be in a better position to educate them. And so when we talk about legacy, it really is stepping outside of us in our comfort zone to benefit the people that are coming behind us. And so that's how Kindness for Kidneys started. Long story short, I have my beautiful sister here who's my kidney donor in 2013. She stepped forward, she was relentless, and I'm just forever grateful for the gift that she's given to me. So Kindness for Kidneys was born out of a space of just seeing a need in our community. When I went into dialysis, I was kind of blindsided because I'm like, why didn't I know about this? Why aren't people, we see a dialysis center on every corner pretty much. Why aren't we having conversation? We're the people that are going to lead the charge so that this is not a part of our community story. And so that's where Kindness for Kidneys started. And we really just wanted to get the word out, to educate, to empower, and to be there for individuals who often feel alone going through this journey. There were times that our family, we didn't know what was happening. We were just trying to figure it out. And so we wanted Kindness for Kidneys to be that safe place for people, for families to land, to get the information that they need. Fast forward 2 years ago, sitting in a meeting, been to several American Kidney Fund meetings and AAKP meetings, started to hear about APOL1. And so I didn't connect the dots right away, but I started to wonder, because I've wondered for years how I ended up with FSGS. Didn't have high blood pressure, diabetes, none of the markers that we were told impact those who have kidney disease. And so I really just wanted to get some answers. For years I had lived not knowing why I had FSGS. And so I decided to do a genetic test. I said, maybe it's genetic, but I don't know anyone in my family. Even up through my great-great-grandparents, I never heard of anyone that had kidney disease, kidney failure, or anything like that. And so took the test, decided to just order 23andMe because I kind of wanted to know right away. So I ordered the test and did find out that I did have 2 copies of the G1 high-risk allele. Didn't know what it all meant, just saw it on the report. And so that's why we're here today. I didn't think that this was going to be the journey, but clearly it is for me. And I think that in this space, I think there's a real opportunity for us to come together to make a difference. I think we're all doing great work in the kidney community with APOL1 and things like that, but we're looking at this as an opportunity to be that bridge for families, to bridge to access to resources, early intervention, the bridge to collaboration. For too long in the kidney world, we kind of had, well, they're doing this, they're doing that. And I really feel like the APOL1 Action Alliance is going to be the organization that helps to bring people together around APOL1 and to really get the word out in the community. Just by show of hands, how many of you had heard of APOL1 prior to coming today? Not as many. Not as many. And so that just lets us know there's a huge need to get the word out there, especially in communities of color. I know for myself and some of the panelists that you'll hear from today, it kind of gave me a sense of relief. I was nervous at first because taking a genetic test, you don't know what else you're going to find out. So I was a little nervous there, but I knew for me it was about my legacy. It was about the fact that I have a child. And so I want her to be equipped and in a better position with the information if she does have the high-risk alleles and can get the early intervention that she needs. So that was the driving force for me. But we got to get the word out. There are a lot of people, I'm thinking of some of my dialysis warrior friends who are sitting in a chair in dialysis right now that have APOL1. They probably feel guilty. They probably feel a lot of shame around their diagnosis because you don't know, so you want to pinpoint it back to something. And being able to say, maybe it wasn't that I had that poor of a diet. Maybe this was something that, I was already predisposed to. And so that's what we want to do with the APOL1 Action Alliance, and that's why it matters in this moment. And who better to do that than patients and people that are impacted by APOL1. And so I just want to leave you again with how we started. What will be your legacy? What will you leave for your family members? whether it's health. A lot of times when we think of legacy, we think of, oh, I need to leave an inheritance, I need to leave money, I need to set them up for success that way. But if they're not healthy enough to enjoy it, And so we want to make sure that we're mindful of our legacy. And today, that's what this is all about. This is what the APOL1 Action Alliance is about, is leaving a legacy for the generations that are coming behind us, making sure families are empowered to walk this walk, to get the testing that they need, to get their questions answered, to give them a pathway forward. Many times people that may suspect that they are impacted by this, they don't have a starting point. It's like, well, what do I do? My doctor doesn't even know about this. And so we want to be the boots on the ground to give them those steps, that roadmap and what that looks like. And we're not going to do it alone. We need you. We need everyone sitting here to be a part of this. We need the community. We need our pharmaceutical companies that have drugs in development. We need our healthcare providers. We need the entire village. And so I just want to thank you again for being here. I hope that when you leave, you're empowered to go out and make a difference, but even more empowered to consider your legacy and what you're leaving for those that you're attached to. So thank you so much, and I look forward to sharing more later.